Ji-won's been through enough fake love to last a lifetime, but Soo-min is determined to test her patience one more time. Teaming up with Ji-won's mother, Soo-min crafts the perfect long-lost mom routine to wring money out of Ji-won. Too bad for them, Ji-won is no longer buying anyone's sob stories. She catches her mom lying, calls her out, and watches Soo-min unravel into a full-blown tantrum. Classic Soo-min. Meanwhile, Min-hwan is getting cozy with Ji-hyuk's fiancé, who's busy playing puppet master. She promises Min-hwan a VIP pass to a life of luxury if he helps her get rid of Ji-won. Of course, in true Min-hwan fashion, he goes, "Sign me up." Back at work, Min-hwan ambushes Ji-won in an elevator, pushing her against the wall like he's auditioning for a K-drama villain role. He accuses her of sneaking around with Ji-hyuk from day one. Ji-won listens to his nonsense for about 2 seconds before introducing him to Mr. Foot to the groin. Min-hwan crumbles like a bad plot twist and Ji-won walks off without breaking a sweat. Later that night, Ji-hyuk, worried about Ji-won, sends over some fried chicken along with his number. Min-hwan, lurking nearby like the shady ex he is, spots the delivery and finally connects the dots. He realizes the delivery guy is the same person who rescued Ji-won before from his advances and was also one of the kidnappers that threatened him. The realization he's being outplayed this whole time. Furious, he teams up with Ji-hyuk's fiancé for real revenge. And here's where things take a dark turn. Turns out Ji-hyuk secretly transferred 80 billion won worth of assets to Ji-won's name to ensure she would always be financially secure even if he was gone. When Ji-hyuk's fiancé drops this bombshell on Min-hwan, his eyes practically falls out of his head. She sweetens the deal with 2 suitcases full of cash and a twisted proposition: kill Ji-won, and he'll be set for life. Min-hwan predictably agrees because morals clearly aren't his strong suit. Not to be outdone, Soo-min has her own plan brewing. She reveals that her father, who she told everyone was dead, is actually alive. Not just alive, but Ji-won's mom's ex-lover. Yeah, you heard that right. Soo-min tracks him down, offers him and Ji-won's mom a share of the money, and ropes them into her revenge plot. Her dad, drowning in debt, signs up faster than you can say bad parenting. Meanwhile, Ji-hyuk tries to end things with his fiancée once and for all. He offers her shares in 2 of his companies, but she refuses. She doesn't even love him. She just doesn't want to lose what's hers. Instead, she cozies up to Min-hwan, promising to take care of all the dirty work if he gets rid of Ji-won. Min-hwan, thinking he's finally hit the jackpot, agrees. They seal their partnership with a kiss and a tumble in the sheets, leaving Min-hwan smug and the fiancé secretly plotting. As Ji-won drives away from her father's memorial, a speeding truck barrels towards her. Ji-hyuk, in full knight-in-shining armor mode, swerves his car to shield her, taking the brunt of the crash. Chaos ensues. Earlier, his secretary had warned Ji-hyuk that Ji-won's mother had borrowed a truck, hinting at a sinister plot to claim Ji-won's inheritance. Ji-hyuk, realizing the danger, didn't hesitate to act. Meanwhile, Ji-won's mother, she's rooting for the truck to hit her daughter. Yep, mother of the year. Just then, Soo-min's father returns home looking panicked, and she immediately knows their plan has gone south. Storming into her room, she starts smashing everything in sight. Just as she's mid-rampage, Min-hwan walks in, trying to calm her down. Soo-min, however, is too furious to listen. She screams about how her father had abandoned her yet again, running off with Ji-won's mother instead. Consumed by rage, Soo-min shifts all the blame onto Ji-won, convinced that Ji-won has ruined her life. Min-hwan, trying to play the peacemaker, urges Soo-min to cool down and stick to the plan, reminding her that Ji-hyuk's fiancé will handle the fallout as long as they keep their mouths shut. But Soo-min's hatred for Ji-won burns brighter than ever, and she's not ready to let it go. At the hospital, Ji-won waits anxiously outside the operating room. She overhears the director whispering about Soo-min's involvement in the accident and pieces it all together. This wasn't just an accident, it was attempted murder. The director confirms her suspicions, explaining that someone orchestrated the crash to get their hands on Ji-hyuk's assets, which he had transferred to Ji-won. After hours of surgery, Ji-hyuk is stable but unconscious. Ji-won, heartbroken, decides it's time to confront Soo-min. When they meet, Ji-won doesn't hold back, accusing Soo-min of orchestrating the crash. Soo-min, ever the actress, plays dumb and even claims Ji-won caused her miscarriage. Ji-won, unimpressed, points out the obvious flaw in her story. Min-hwan is infertile. Soo-min's mask slips, revealing her true vindictive self. At that moment, Soo-min finally revealed her darkest secret. When Ji-won was 14, her mother ran off with a man. That man was Sumin's father. Sumin had tracked her father down, only to overhear him complaining about how annoying she was. To make matters worse, he wrapped his arm around Ji-won's mother and declared that he didn't need his daughter anymore. All he wanted was his little princess, Ji-won's mom. Ugh. The betrayal cut Sumin deeply. Learning that Ji-won was the child of her father's new relationship only fueled her resentment. Determined to get close to Ji-won, Sumin devised a plan. On a bus ride, she stole Ji-won's wallet while she was asleep, only to return it later when Ji-won couldn't pay for her items at a store. Playing the hero, Sumin earned Ji-won's trust and became her friend. After school, Sumin would visit Ji-won's house, where she was greeted with warmth and care. Ji-won's father would prepare the electric blanket for her, bring snacks to the room, and even give Sumin pocket money on their first meeting. Sumin couldn't help but notice the cozy details of Ji-won's room. The photos of Ji-won smiling on the walls, the small trinkets scattered across the room. It was a stark contrast to her own life. Though both girls had lost someone they loved, Ji-won's life seemed untouched by tragedy. She still had her father, and her home radiated happiness. Sumin, consumed by jealousy, makes a vow. She would take everything from Ji-won. She hated Ji-won's constant cheerfulness, her seemingly perfect life, and the kindness that Sumin could not understand. From that moment, Sumin's friendship with Ji-won became a calculated act of revenge. But Ji-won, ever the bigger person, reveals she's always known about Sumin's lies. Despite everything, she chose to be Sumin's friend, hoping they could find happiness together despite their tragic childhood. Sumin, however, saw Ji-won's kindness as condescension and resented her even more. After their confrontation, Ji-won spends the night by Ji-hyuk's side, pouring her heart out. She tells him she doesn't want to lose him, that she's tired of being abandoned by the people she loves. Ji-won confesses she's listened to Ji-hyuk's recorded messages, filled with his heartfelt love. Finally, she admits her feelings, saying she loves him too. At that moment, Ji-hyuk's fingers twitch and his eyes flutter open. He reaches out, gently touching Ji-won's hair, and the room filled with hope. Ji-won personally escorts Ji-hyuk home, fussing over him like a protective mom. She refuses to let him remove his bandages and peppers him with caring remarks. Ji-hyuk, clearly loving the attention, pulls her into a heartfelt hug, and just like that, they're officially back together. But Ji-hyuk, being the drama king he is, fakes a lingering hand injury to keep Ji-won by his side. He even pretends to feel unwell just to cuddle with her at night, promising to only hold her and do nothing else. Meanwhile, Ji-won is piecing together the bigger picture. She knows Ji-hyuk's fiancé and Sumin are plotting her demise to claim her assets. But Ji-won also realizes that Sumin and Min-hwan's marriage won't be the end of her fated transformation. Something bigger is brewing, and Ji-won is determined to stop it. On the other side of town, manager Yan confides in Ji-won about her cheating husband. She even shares a recording from their car's dashcam, which captures audio of his affair but no visuals due to a malfunction. Manager Yan, fed up, decides to catch him in the act and files for adultery charges. Yep, this is set in a time where that is still a thing. Ji-won, remembering how her own tragedy unfolded, suspects history might repeat itself with manager Yan, where she will meet her death after catching the cheaters red-handed. Determined to protect her, Ji-won offers to help. That night, Ji-won and manager Yan teams up with the police, staking out her husband's home. When the mistress arrives, they storm in with the cops. Ji-won immediately notices the mistress's shoes. They're identical to the ones Su-min wore during her affair with Min-hwan in Ji-won's past life. Inside, the police snapped pictures for evidence, and Ji-won spots a candy jar on the floor, eerily similar to the one she once used to confront Min-hwan. The deja vu is real. Manager Yan's husband tries to play innocent, claiming his friend was just dropping off snacks. He demands everyone leave, but Ji-won's eyes land on a glass coffee table. Memories of being pushed onto a similar table by Min-hwan flash through her mind. Determined to prevent a repeat of her fate, Ji-won grabs a golf club and smashes the table to pieces. She warns the husband that if he harms manager Yan, she won't hesitate to take him down. The husband, furious, reports Ji-won to the police, but manager Yan, finally fed up, exposes his affair in front of everyone and slaps him across the face. Enraged, he shelves her, but thanks to Ji-won's quick thinking, the broken table is no longer a threat. Manager Yan escapes with minor injuries. After filing a police report, Ji-won advises manager Yan to avoid being alone with her husband and suggests hiring a lawyer. The director of the company even offers to help. but Ji-won knows this isn't over. She realizes that to truly shift her fate, something drastic needs to happen. After much thought, she concludes that for manager Yan to survive, Soo-min must take her place as the target who must die to fulfill the fate. Ji-won, ready to make the ultimate sacrifice, decides to lure Min-hwan back into her life, ultimately causing a rift between the unhappy couple. Ji-hyuk, understandably upset, reluctantly agrees to help, unable to say no to Ji-won's determined gaze. Ji-won's plan to bait Min-hwan kicks off with a bang, literally, the bang of her red high heels hitting the floor. Gifted by Ji-hyuk, the heels become her secret weapon. The next day, Ji-won struts into the office in those heels, paired with leather pants that scream revenge chic. She is turning heads, and Min-hwan is no exception. Ji-won and Ji-hyuk stages a fake argument, with Ji-hyuk dramatically stripping Ji-won of her project responsibilities and accusing her of taking a payout to break up with him. Min-hwan, eavesdropping like the nosy ex he is, starts connecting dots and spiraling into his own delusions. Ji-won seizes the moment, approaching Min-hwan with a softer tone and suggesting they grab a drink. Over drinks, she spins a tale about Ji-hyuk's grandfather giving her 800 billion won as a breakup fee. She even throws in the recent car accident for good measure, claiming Ji-hyuk begged her to reconcile but fired her when she refused. Min-hwan, already primed by the staged argument, swallows the story whole. His greed kicks in and he starts plotting to win Ji-won back, not out of love, but for the money, obviously. Ji-won, sensing his intentions, turns up the charm. She reminisces about their old times and even suggests that he divorce Soo-min. Min-hwan, unable to resist the bait, pulls Ji-won into an embrace. Watching from a distance, Ji-hyuk is practically green with jealousy, but manages to keep his cool. Meanwhile, Min-hwan teams up with Ji-hyuk's fiancé and proposes a chilling plan. Eliminate Ji-won's mother and Soo-min's father to erase any loose ends about the car accident. With no one left to reveal the truth, Ji-won will have no choice but to reconcile with Min-hwan, and Ji-hyuk's fiancé could finally have him back. The crazy fiancé, seeing this as a win-win, agrees without hesitation. Back at home though, Soo-min isn't reacting rashly to Min-hwan's sudden proposal to divorce. Her suspicions were already growing when a former manager hints that Ji-won and Min-hwan might rekindle their old flame. Soo-min, ever the schemer, pretends to agree to a divorce but secretly contacts Ji-hyuk's fiancé, cooking up her own plan so she doesn't end up with the nothing. Meanwhile, Yong-ho finds himself caught in the crossfire. Ji-hyuk's fiancé pressures him to help with her schemes, even dangling the ownership of his restaurant as bait. When Yong-ho refuses, she fires him on the spot. Dejected, Yong-ho confides in Yoo-hui, who suggests he join Ji-won's meal kit project. Yong-ho agrees and spills the tea about Ji-hyuk's fiancé's shady dealings. Ji-won, though unsure of the fiancé's exact motives, trusts Ji-hyuk can handle it. Ji-hyuk, however, has his own plans. He confronts one of the fiancé's henchmen, offering him a choice: help Ji-hyuk or go down with the fiancé. The henchman, seeing the writing on the wall, delivers to his boss a pair of red heels and a candy jar, items meant to curse her fate as Min-hwan's mistress. As Min-hwan prepares to meet Ji-won, Ji-hyuk calls her with a warning. Min-hwan has already moved on to another affair, so she doesn't need to use herself as bait. Relieved, Ji-won cancels their meeting and roasts Min-hwan over the phone, leaving him confused and speechless. That night, as Ji-won wraps up work, she receives a creepy call filled with strange noises. Alone in the office, she hides under her desk as Min-hwan, the caller, creeps closer. When he finds her, he drops the nice guy act and reveals his true intentions. Ji-won, unshaken, calls him out for his murderous schemes, vowing to send him straight to hell. Enraged, Min-hwan launches at her, his hand tightening around her neck. Just as Min-hwan is about to strangle Ji-won, Ji-hyuk bursts in like an action hero, kicking Min-hwan to the ground and saving Ji-won. He doesn't stop there. Ji-hyuk unleashes a flurry of punches, leaving Min-hwan too dazed to fight back. After making sure Ji-won is safe, Ji-hyuk calls the director to check on her condition at the hospital. Thankfully, Ji-won is okay, but Ji-hyuk and Min-hwan both end up in police custody for their brawl. At the station, Min-hwan tries to play tough, threatening to expose Ji-hyuk's chaebol status to the media. He even blames Ji-won for ruining his life. Ji-hyuk, unimpressed, claps back, pointing out that Min-hwan's downfall is entirely his own doing. Before Min-hwan can process the burn, the director arrives to bail Ji-hyuk out, leaving Min-hwan fuming and shouting like a sore loser. Once released, Ji-hyuk heads straight to Ji-won's place. She's just been discharged from the hospital and is still shaken from the attack. Ji-hyuk pulls her into a comforting hug, promising to stay by her side no matter what. That night, he stays over, vowing to protect her from any harm. Meanwhile, Soo-min is busy scheming. She meets with Ji-hyuk's fiancé, armed with a recording that proves the fiancé orchestrated the murder of Ji-won's mother and Soo-min's father. Soo-min, ever the opportunist, uses the recording to blackmail the fiancé, demanding a cut of the spoils. The fiancé, furious but cornered, reluctantly agrees. Min-hwan, on the other hand, is having the worst day ever. After being fired from his job, thanks to Ji-hyuk, he's immediately hit with calls from loan sharks demanding repayment. When the loan collectors show up at his door, they don't just threaten him, they beat him up for good measure. Desperate, Min-hwan searches Soo-min's account and finds 80 million won, along with stacks of cash hidden in their home. Realizing the money came from the fiancé's hush fund, Min-hwan decides to keep it all for himself. Meanwhile, Ji-hyuk proposes a partnership to Soo-min of all people. He lies, claiming Ji-won wants to rekindle her relationship with Min-hwan and suggests Soo-min file an adultery lawsuit to get compensation. Of course, this is all part of Ji-hyuk and Ji-won's plan. The real targets of the lawsuit, Min-hwan and Ji-hyuk's fiancé. Ji-won is setting the stage for Soo-min to do their dirty work for them. To add fuel to the fire, Ji-hyuk introduces Ji-won to his grandfather, right in front of his fiancé. Ji-won's grace and sincerity win over the old man, while the fiancé's jealousy reaches new heights. Enraged, she decides to take matter into her own hands, playing right into Ji-won and Ji-hyuk's hands. Soo-min, meanwhile, is spiraling. She confronts Ji-won, accusing her of rekindling things with Min-hwan. Ji-won, feigning innocence, reminds Soo-min that Min-hwan's cheating habits are unlikely to change. To drive the point home, Ji-won accidentally sends Soo-min a text meant for Min-hwan, filled with fake sweet nothings and subtle jabs at Soo-min. Predictably, Soo-min takes the bait and agrees to Ji-hyuk's plan. As for Min-hwan, he's busy scheming his own way out of debt. He discovers a company insurance policy that promises a 500 million won payout if his spouse dies. Seeing dollar signs, he teams up with Ji-hyuk's fiancé to eliminate Soo-min. The fiancé, eager to clean up loose ends, agrees. That night, they seal their twisted deal with another tumble in the sheets, unaware that Ji-hyuk is one step ahead. Ji-hyuk's informant, aka the henchman, tips him off, and he immediately sends Soo-min the hotel room number where Min-hwan and the fiancé are meeting. Ji-won's plan is finally coming to fruition. Tonight could be the night she rewrites her fate. Armed with the hotel room number, Soo-min storms in, ready to catch Ji-won in the act. But surprise, the voices coming from the room aren't Ji-won and Min-hwan, it's Min-hwan and Ji-hyuk's fiancé. Soo-min, equal parts furious and disgusted, mutters something about how her husband can't seem to keep his affairs classy. She whips out her phone to record the scene, but the fiancé's henchman snatches it away and, for good measure, kidnaps Soo-min, because why not add kidnapping to the chaos? The fiancé, ever the puppet master, convinces Min-hwan to take care of Soo-min first. Min-hwan is the obedient pawn. He drives Soo-min to a remote location. But the fiancée has her own plans. She's ready to throw Min-hwan under the bus by exposing his number for insurance scheme to the media when Soo-min is out of the picture. At the hideout, Soo-min tries to negotiate her freedom, offering Min-hwan all her money. Too bad for her, Min-hwan has already transferred her funds to his account. Oh, and the incriminating recording she had of the fiancé? Deleted while she was unconscious. With no leverage left, Soo-min is cornered. Min-hwan, feeling smug, heads downstairs to stage a gas leak for her accidental death. But when he returns, Soo-min had Houdini'd her way out of her restraints. Min-hwan barely had time to react before Soo-min charges at him with a knife, demanding the car keys. He pretends to comply but smashes her with a chair instead. By mistake, Soo-min, fueled by rage, kicks him where it hurts and drops the bombshell. He's infertile, and her pregnancy was a lie. She grabs a glass from the table and smash it over his head. In the scuffle, Min-hwan stumbles onto a glass coffee table, shattering it and meeting a bloody end. The scene is eerily similar to Ji-won's death in the previous timeline. Ji-won later receives news of Min-hwan's death from the funeral home. Reading the police report, she learns that Soo-min is now a fugitive and the prime suspect. At Min-hwan's funeral, her mother wails uncontrollably, but Ji-won feels nothing. She knows Min-hwan's downfall was his own doing. As for Soo-min, her whereabouts remain unmarried. Ji-hyuk, ever the voice of reason, warns Ji-won that Soo-min isn't the type to let things go. Ji-won, visibly uneasy, wonders if Soo-min's already lurking nearby, plotting her next move. Things are heating up as Soo-min remains on the run, and the authorities close in on Ji-hyuk's fiancé. The prosecutor connects the dots, linking the fiancé to the murders of Ji-won's mother and Soo-min's father. But does the fiancé cooperate? Of course not. She's too busy flaunting her chaebol status and treating the investigators like they're beneath her. Her smug attitude doesn't last long though. Ji-hyuk's grandfather steps in, and he's not playing around. Grandpa Ji-hyuk, finally tired of her antics, demands she resign from the company, relinquish her shares, and prepare for a one-way ticket to a remote volunteering position in Africa. The fiancé, furious, accuses him of favoritism towards Ji-hyuk, but Ji-hyuk isn't as patient as his grandfather. He warns her to back off Ji-won, and when she scoffs, he drops the bombshell. He has evidence. Enter Ji-won's mother and Soo-min's father, who were supposed to be the fiancé's victims, but are now her worst nightmare. Turns out Ji-hyuk had them on his side all along, and now they're ready to testify. The fiancé's smug grin vanishes as she's hauled back to the police station. Meanwhile, manager Yan's surgery is a success, and she's finally standing up to her cheating husband. Watching her transformation, Ji-won feels inspired. She's determined to make the most of her second chance at life and love as well. Ji-hyuk's grandfather invites Ji-won over for dinner, where he gives her the classic love versus career talk. Ji-won, ever the queen of composure, assures him she's ready to support Ji-hyuk no matter what. Her sincerity wins Grandpa over, and he finally gives her his blessing. Later that night, Ji-won and Ji-hyuk celebrate with friends. Everyone's in high spirits, basking in their newfound happiness. But the good vibes don't last long. After the party, Ji-won answers the doorbell only to be ambushed by Soo-min, who's armed with a taser and a grudge. Soo-min, still bitter over her downfall, doses Ji-won's apartment with a liquid chemical, blaming her for everything that's gone wrong in her life. But Ji-won isn't caught off guard. She had anticipated Soo-min's move and set a trap. As Soo-min gloats about killing Min-hwan, Ji-won breaks free from her restraints and takes her down with a well-practiced self-defense move. Soo-min, still delusional, threatens to come back for revenge, claiming she'll be out of jail in no time for killing her husband in self-defense. Ji-won, unfazed, points to the security camera recording everything. Soo-min's face fell as she realizes she's been caught red-handed. Turns out Ji-won had been working with Ji-hyuk and the police all along. They've been tracking Soo-min since her chemical buying spree tipped off a store clerk. Ji-hyuk had been training Ji-won in self-defense, ensuring she could handle herself in a crisis. The police arrived just in time to arrest Soo-min, finally putting an end to her reign of chaos. As the dust settles, Ji-won breaks down in tears, overwhelmed by everything she's endured. Ji-hyuk pulls her into a tight embrace, and the two share a tender kiss, finally able to enjoy a moment of peace. And then there was one. With the deranged couple dead or put away, we're left with Ji-hyuk's scheming fiancé shaking in her designer boots. Despite overwhelming evidence, she's released due to lack of hard proof, with a travel ban to prevent her escape. With time running out, she races to the airport like she's auditioning for a Fast and Furious spin-off. Meanwhile, Ji-hyuk, struck by a flashback of his car accident, bolts upright. Noticing his chest tattoo, a blue heart that had always symbolized his looming death, is now gone. He realizes that his fate has shifted, and just as the words leave his lips, news break on the TV. The fiancé has crashed her car and died en route to the airport. Talk about karma. With the fiancé dark cloud gone, Ji-won and Ji-hyuk breathe a massive sigh of relief. They're finally free to embrace their happily ever after. Christmas preparations are in full swing, and Ji-hyuk starts daydreaming about a future with Ji-won, complete with kids running around. Unable to contain his love, he scoops Ji-won up for a swoon-worthy kiss. And because Ji-hyuk doesn't do anything halfway, he surprises her by opening a branch of her favorite restaurant right near their home. Ji-won, touched by the gesture, vows to find ways to make Ji-hyuk feel just as cherished. On the weekend, the couple visits the field where they first met. For Ji-won, it's bittersweet. What was once a place of loneliness now feels warm and safe with Ji-hyuk by her side. As they reminisce, Ji-won musters up the courage to make the moment memorable. She proposes to Ji-hyuk, asking him to marry her. Ji-hyuk walks away without a word, leaving her mid-sentence and flustered. But before she can fully panic, he returns with flowers and drops to one knee, pulling out a ring he's clearly been carrying around for just the right moment. Ji-won's tears stream down her face. She says yes faster than you can say happily ever after. Cue the romantic embrace as the camera pans to the dreamy sunset. Their wedding becomes the talk of the town, even making it onto TV broadcasts. Meanwhile, Soo-min, holed up somewhere, loses her mind seeing Ji-won living the dream. Racked with jealousy and paranoia, she begins hallucinating her dead husband Min-hwan, taunting her with his insurance policy. Unable to move on, Soo-min spirals further into madness, a shadow of her former self. The wedding, however, goes off without a hitch. Ji-won stuns in her gown as she and Ji-hyuk exchanges rings in front of their loved ones. Hand in hand, they embark on a new chapter filled with laughter, love, and plenty of comedic parenting fails as they raise their two children. Though juggling kids proves chaotic, the couple leans on each other, guided by their family motto, be each other's solid ground. Fast forward to the fateful day in 2023 that once marked their deaths. Instead of despair, it becomes a celebration of life and second chances. As the couple reflects on their journey, Ji-won feels a rush of gratitude for the life they've built. With tear-filled eyes, she whispers her thanks to Ji-hyuk, knowing they'll continue to create happiness together, one day at a time. And just like that, we have reached the end of this roller coaster. Thanks for tagging along on this dramatic yet heartwarming journey. Make sure to keep following Dramas and Pajamas for your next binge-worthy breakdown. Until next time, stay fabulous.